Hello, my name is Joven Fernandez, and I'm going to be talking about cyber attack retaliation and the ethics of hacking back. So, my topic given is cyber attack retaliation by a company, and this is my scenario. NJIT has been attacked by hackers in a foreign country who have taken personal information about staff and students. NJIT's head of cybersecurity has figured out where the hackers are located and that the hackers are not agents of the foreign country. The head has proposed to the president of NJIT that NJIT attack back, destroying the hackers' stolen copies of the information and damaging their equipment in retaliation. But this action is against the U.S. law. The president is considering the proposal made by the head of cybersecurity. And the dilemma is it ethical for the president to authorize the proposed action? So, first off, I want to get into what exactly is cyber retaliation. So, cyber retaliation also has other words, you can use as active defense, or, people usually call it hacking back. It usually pretty much involves, a victim of cyber attacks and pretty much them taking the offensive action to attack back, try to destroy the data that was stolen, or try to, pretty much disable the attacker system. And why is this important? Is because when it comes to cyber attacks, law enforcement can't really intervene too much in these type of situations because there's no real way to slow down or stop live data breaches. And because of the borderless nature of the internet, it really makes it pretty much impossible to find who the suspect is and who's pretty much responsible for the attack. And because of these facts, companies pretty much feel defenseless, and, who wouldn't blame them for wanting to take actions into their own hands? But then again, there's repercussions when you take actions like that. There's other things to consider. So, now to get into the ethical framework. So, to kind of break down why we think it's necessarily, a bad choice for the president to go through with this action. So for Kantianism, if the company were to hack back, it would pretty much become a lawless war zone if they were to allow people to hack back. Pretty much anybody could hack anybody, anybody become a victim. So it just would be straight out chaos on the internet. So that's why they wouldn't allow it. So for utilitarianism, so does destroying the data, is it good? What's the risk when it comes to that? So pretty much it would be bad for the university because again, you are breaking the law. You can't hack back. And I guess it would be good for the students because it would protect their data, but there's still bigger consequences to fall after that, especially with the professional codes. The ACM Code of Ethics states that we should avoid harm and actually honor confidentiality, but also be honest and trustworthy regarding the law. So, as you already know, our laws and rules already push for us to pull back from retaliating when we're in these type of situations. So, for the societal issues and ethical pros and cons, first I'm going to talk about the pros. So, for the pros, the attackers, if the president were to actually go through with this action, the attackers would, think twice of doing something like that again, because if you were to attack their systems, I highly doubt that they would try to attack again or try to steal any information after that. And the only way to truly delete stolen data may be to access the attacker's server directly. So that's the only pros that would come with it. But there's quite a bit of cons that come with it as well. It's pretty difficult to be sure who's attacking you. You might accidentally, attack somebody else. That's why they don't necessarily allow you to attack back, because you can accidentally target a hospital, or somebody else you weren't necessarily trying to attack, because it's hard to pinpoint who's attacking you in the first place. So retaliation can pretty much trigger a cyber war loop where the original attacker might want to retaliate with you retaliating, pretty much, and now it's not a good situation for anybody. So now for the intended and unintended consequences. if the president were to go through with these actions, of course their intended purpose is to destruction of the stolen data and possibly the attackers' systems that they're using to steal this data. But the unintended consequences could come with collateral damage, as I was saying earlier, that you can pretty much target somebody that you weren't necessarily trying to attack in the first place. Like hacking back could accidentally crash a server that hosts critical services, and we wouldn't want that. Even if it was to compromise the hackers' systems, it wouldn't be worth it. And the legal blowback for if the authorities were to hear about your company pretty much participating in these illegal activities, there are definitely going to be some criminal charges that you're going to have to face. And for future aspects and necessary developments, I believe that there should be some policy shifts, which pretty much allows some type of leeway or something where these companies could do pretty much defend themselves some way somehow against these type of attacks, seeing that the authorities can't really butt themselves into the situation right there and then. So some type of legalized hacking back should be set in place under strict conditions, of course. Which that way, we can still keep the, order. Speculation, as AI is becoming bigger and better, I believe that, they should also implement some type of AI driven defenses, pretty much that's going to be actively defending your system from attackers. Since AI is growing up, it's really a good idea to implement AI where you can. And the requirement. So global treaties are needed to define what constitutes a proportional digital response to prevent international incidents. And this is my bibliography. Thank you.